You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib, using no hands. Oh shit, it feel like I'm floating, but I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My niggas making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found shit of them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see you when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She want the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion of garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing. Not sure I relate to the Reddit page. It's feeling like money is everything. Money is everything. It's everything I need. Till I lay my eyes on you. What this is.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 16, episode 20. In this episode, it's part 6 of the podcast. In this episode, we are previewing and continuing our WNBA playoff coverage. Before we get into that, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. Thank you for those that reached out and make sure that I was okay. I just had a little procedure I had to get done. I'm feeling all right. And I missed you guys, so it's glad to be back here. There's a lot of things I've missed. Damn, I definitely missed a lot. Baltimore Orioles, they won the American League East, and they're getting ready to play the Texas Rangers. Missed that. The Ravens, they've been on regrouped after losing to Indianapolis in overtime. Washington last night got embarrassed at home. The Maryland Terrapins are 5-0. It's a lot that I'll be getting into, so just be patient. You'll see me videos as progressing, but it's good to be back. But in this episode, part 5 of One Mind, One Goal, I cannot do this alone because in this episode, we have a couple things to discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, coming back on the episode again is our guest, as always, Mr. Brenden Potts. Brenden, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. WNBA playoffs are almost complete, and I'm excited to get into it. Maryland Terrapins football undefeated, so it's WSU. So we're gonna keep on rolling. We got another chance to win tomorrow, so I'm excited. I'm excited for that game against UCLA. But I'm excited to get to talking to about some WNBA basketball.
For sure. The last time you saw the episode was part 4, and we were just getting ready for we're getting into the conference finals, and some things happened in that, and unfortunately, for two teams, the Connecticut Sun and Dallas Wings, their seasons came to an end. Tuesday was the Connecticut Sun's exit interview. I had the opportunity to ask some of the ladies some questions. Again, thank you to the Connecticut Sun PR for giving me the opportunity to cover their team. For the Connecticut Sun, it was an interesting season. Let's just keep it real. Lost game 4. Lost 3-1 in New York. Game 5, excuse me. No, I'm saying it all wrong. I'm sorry. They 3-1. They were defeated by New York. And a couple things happened. I think nobody picked Connecticut to even get this far into the season, especially with the narrative how Jonquel Jones' departure would have affected them. Everything was on the up and up, and then Brianna Jones ruptured her Achilles, and then everything just kind of picked up there. That was kind of another concern, and then Alyssa Thomas had the year that she had. DeWanna Bonner, I thought had one of the best seasons in her career. Brenden, I'm coming to you. What is your outlook going into the offseason with Connecticut?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed a lot of it on the head. You just got to give flowers to the Connecticut coaching staff and Stephanie White over there. They really had all of the odds against them after losing Jonquel Jones. Nobody thought they were gonna do as well as they did, and I think losing Jonquel. I've said this a couple of times while I've been on here, but I think losing Jonquel was a breath of fresh air for Connecticut. Some teams, whether it's NBA or WNBA, losing a star player is good for a team. And I think this was a good. I think this was a good thing for Connecticut. This team has a really bright future. Alyssa Thomas, you nailed it. She had one of the best seasons in WNBA history. She honestly was some people's MVP, and rightfully so. She had a fantastic year. DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Cloud. I saw a tweet that she tweeted out today. She spoke about how underrated DeWanna Bonner is and how underrated of a player she is at her age, and I really agree with her. And yeah, DeWanna is up there in age, but she's still a really, really good player for a team like Connecticut. And mind you, she's playing with two kids. She has two kids. She's just got engaged to AT, and she's playing like she's not at the end of her career when her age says otherwise for any other player besides her. So she's very, very, very underrated, and the media, I think, is not talking about her enough. So I think DeWanna Bonner should have a big year next year for Connecticut. I think they should have gone to the finals if they had Brianna Jones. I think that was a big loss for them. It was that loss to a ruptured Achilles was against Seattle. It was in Seattle. And I remember watching that game and I just said, no, it's not good at initially watching that injury. And I think that was a big loss for them. Any other team would have backed down, would have just cowered and just gave up on the season, but this team didn't. And I think that shows how strong-willed they are. And if indeed Brianna Jones makes a full recovery next season, I think she's going to be a big piece to another run, and I think they could make a run if they keep all the pieces together.
And that brings me to my next point. I mean, for me, DB made it really clear on the media day that she's not hinted at retiring at all at the moment, and I don't think she will. My concern is that your core are free agents. For me, when you rupture or tear your Achilles, that's a full year recovery. Bree did mention in her extra interview that she was off the boot, and she's been walking. She's gonna take this all season to really get back to 100%. My concern when it comes to paying her, can you core her? I think she's already been cored. And then that's just a qualifying offer, which I think is like almost like $240,000. Or you personally, you got to figure out what you're going to do with that. That's a big risk, and you don't want to lose her for nothing. And there's not really that many great free agents out there. Kylie Copper, Joe Lloyd, but actually they signed extensions, so they definitely need a point guard. I think they need a shooting guard. I just think that there's a couple of players that did not take a step forward this year as I expected. Skylar Dickens could be an option. Jordan Kennedy could be an option.
You said shooting guard. You don't trust Rebecca Allen?
I said point guard.
You said shooting guard too.
Well, I said in terms of the guards that they've had, didn't take a step forward. So
I think Rebecca Allen had a big year, man. I really like her.
She did, but I'm saying I think other than Rebecca Allen, Natisha Heidemann, I thought would have taken a step forward. Dejanay Carrington definitely, I think, took a step forward. But I don't know if she's going to come back next year.
Yeah, I was just going to say she needs a bigger role next year if she comes back.
Yeah, and then Olivia Nelson-Odata, I think had a great season. Expect her to have a big role. I just think, especially when you're trying to compete for a championship, you need a roster that can actually shoot the ball. But more importantly, I think you got to get more out of your bench. I love this kind of the weakness coming into the season was their bench. So, and then Betty Hattar, I didn't really get the understanding of that signing because she didn't even touch the floor at all. So, they've got their second round pick for in 2025. Leah Brown is going overseas. They do have the rights for Kiana Smith when they traded Jasmine Thomas to Los Angeles, but she was out due to injury. So there is a lot that Connecticut has to do because I think this year kind of was like Washington. Everything just goes in the middle of the table and then injuries. So while I do see similarities with Washington and Connecticut, unfortunately. This next team, the Dallas Wings, were swept by the Las Vegas Aces. I had the future's bright for them. After sweeping Atlanta and then turning around and getting swept 3-0 by Vegas. That was probably the most disappointing game 3. They had the opportunity to win the game, and for 5 minutes, they just fell right in the old habits. Just what are your thoughts on Dallas, and then what is your outlook for the offseason?
Oh yeah, well, Dallas. I think the times that I've been on here and we've talked about Dallas, I've usually shit on them, and they have a reputation where they come out as frauds when it comes to the regular season and the playoffs, similar to Connecticut. And they've really changed my team this year. And I think that's due to the play of Satu Sabali. Although I think Jordan Canada should have won most improved, I think Satu had a fantastic year. And she came back really strong this year after an ACL injury. So the big thing with how good Dallas was Arika did not have to be their best player. And I think that really helps her game. I think in terms of their run, in terms of Dallas's run, and how close they are to a championship. I think if they played New York, they would be playing Vegas in the finals. And I just think they ran into the wrong opponent. I just think Vegas was the wrong matchup for them. I think, listen, they're closer to a championship than you would think. Give Enrique more opportunity to not be the best player, because if you put that pressure on her, then she has shown that she's not gonna capitalize. But as long as Satu stays healthy and you build around those two, I think Dallas can build a decent championship competing team next year. And that goes along with the fantastic first-year coach in Letitia Trammell. You could make an argument that she wins Coach of the Year, because she did a fantastic job with that team. I think Dallas really impressed me this year.
Whoa! Now you got too much dip on your chip. Huh? Who you think I am? Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool?
I have a question. You said that if Dallas faced New York, they're facing Vegas in the finals. You don't think Dallas could beat Vegas?
No, not in the finals. I'm just saying, if Dallas instead of Vegas, they faced Vegas, they got swept. If Dallas faced New York instead of Connecticut facing them, and Connecticut faced Vegas and Dallas would be in the finals right now. I think Dallas would have taken down New York.
Okay, I have a question. When Vegas and Dallas played in the conference finals, how many games did you predict Dallas would win?
No, they're not winning a game. They're not beating Vegas. I'm just saying they would get to the finals if they faced New York in the second.
How many games is that going if they face New York?
4 or 5. I'd lean more towards 5, but
interesting. Okay.
I really like this Dallas team, and that says a lot because I usually hate them.
No, I concur with those thoughts. I hear what you're saying. I do. I mean, when you look at this season, I think that they were right there. I just think that they just, a couple things. I think experience matters, and I think also too bad habits. You got to. I think that's where leadership on the court, I think that matters. In my personal opinion, they've got the talent. Don't get me wrong. It's from the bad habits. For me, when I look at Dallas, they can build off of it. Diamond DeShields is a free agent, unrestricted. Ozzie Sims is a free agent. Satu Sali is a restricted free agent, which means if somebody offers the contract, Dallas will match that. They do have 2 first-round picks. One from Chicago when they traded Marina Mabry to Chicago, and they get the 5th and 9th overall pick. And we get Washington, their 2nd-round pick, when we traded Stephanie Suarez last year. And the other 20 is their 3rd-round pick. But they got a good core. For sure. Kalani Brown, to me, is also the key. Played the whole year on a hardship contract. And I think she should be, in my opinion, the team MVP, because was asked to really play a huge role, whether it was on the defensive side or offensive side. Shout out to Alfred on Twitter. He has a whole breakdown of why Kalani Brown is an impactful player to any W team, in my opinion. But going and continuing on with that, I think that this season is a little different because for me, Enrique, Tierra McCowan, Natasha Howard are all under good contracts, but they do take us some cap. And we look at everybody else. Everyone's on the rookie scale deal. The exception of Crystal Dangerfield, who did kind of sign it at the rookie deal price. I looked at the contract. So, I mean, Stephanie Sorrells plays next year. You got to take into consideration of that. Then you got to add the 5th overall pick. And then Satu Sadli, the max is almost about $209,000 for the restricted free agent. They would have under $40,000 in cap to add a 12th player. And if you're trying to offer someone like Kalani Brown that kind of money, someone's going to go somewhere else. So for me, the number one priority, I think, is re-signing Satu Sadli. For me, shout out to the committee who broke the news that she was most improved player. You got to take care of her first. And I believe they'll match any offer sheet that was given her. But she's not, I mean, unless the Dallas cores her, she's not eligible for a max. So I'm curious to see what they do. I mean, they got a good core 4 in Dallas. The core, Arike, Natasha, Chairman Count, and then Satu. But
if I'm Dallas, I'm giving her the Jewel Lloyd. If I'm Dallas, I'm giving Satu the Jewel Lloyd treatment. Here, take all our money. Just stay here. Take all our money.
Right.
You can keep it all. You're staying here. Don't put a number on it. You're staying here. Come be our franchise player, because that's essentially what she is.
Absolutely.
If you said the 5th and the 9th pick in this draft, and I think this draft is so stacked with talent. It's actually insane. I would not be surprised if Maddie Segrist and Lou Lopez Sinachel are moved, whether they're cut or
traded.
Yeah. Especially Lou Lopez Sinachel. Once she's recovered.
Stephanie Suarez as well.
Yeah. Looking at this roster, and with adding in that draft class and with free agency coming up too, Dallas has the potential to be really, really good.
I agree, but the biggest concern, especially if you're trying to run it back next year, I really have some questions about the roster. You can't keep 12 players with that cap. They're just top heavy. So whether that they can flip somebody, I mean, they're probably going to only have – they'll have to pick one of the two. Odyssey Sims or Kalani Brown. One going to get re-signed. So I want to agree on that. Somebody will get moved.
Who are you taking if you're the GM between those two? I'm taking Brown easily.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one for me because Odyssey brings I think from a defensive purposes, she matters, especially on the floor. And she brings more of a veteran leadership on the court. Odyssey, I mean, Kalani can do it on both sides of the floor. She has a good mid-range, and she can definitely battle in the paint. They're both valuable at their positions, in my opinion. So it's going to be curious to see where this Dallas Wing team goes into the offseason. But while I'm on that, if you've been paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, this it's just been an interesting season because a lot of players have already signed their extension. And that already tells me what past 2025 is going to look like. Because everyone sees the bigger picture. Because I'm convinced they're going to opt out this current CBA in another couple in 2025. So, because everyone has now signed extensions, and this pool of free agents is not the best, but you can make some things work. And this we get into our next topic, and shout out to the committee. They first broke this report. Breanna Stewart was named the 2023 MVP. Brenden, I know you were very ecstatic on Twitter. So what were your thoughts on Breanna winning MVP?
Yeah, I mean, first thought, I wish she would have won it in Seattle. Um, but this, um, I get there were three favorites for MVPs or for MVP. There were three players to choose from. Essentially, it was Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, and Alyssa Thomas. I get the argument for all three, and I bet the for the people voting, it was just as hard for the rest of us, or it was just as hard to select as it could have been for the rest of us. Um, my thing, and I've kept harping on it with Sabrina. My thing this year for winning an award like this is consistency, and from the tip off of the WNBA season to the end of the regular season, Brianna Stewart was the most consistent. Asia Wilson had her flashes it like during the later part of the year, but she had a portion where she just wasn't the one carrying the aces. And I mean, the aces are just that good where she doesn't have to. But Brianna Stewart was winning most of those games for the Liberty, and especially when they started on that rough patch um, to start the season, and you could really count on Brianna Stewart to really quote unquote get hers every night. Um, Now Alyssa Thomas, I could see her as the MVP, and in most eyes, she should have been the one to win MVP. Um, if I'm the people voting, then I'm just like I don't know who to choose. But if Alyssa Thomas wins MVP, good for her, and she deserves it because she had such a historical season. But if she doesn't, and in this case she didn't, I just feel like you're wasting a really, really, really good year, and you're not awarding her in some shape or form. Um, that's what I think of it. Um, but I did want to say one thing, and this was kind of said on the WNBA show during a game. The voting breakdown came out for the MVP, and there was one media member who had a fourth place vote for Asia Wilson, and they still haven't revealed themselves. And I need them to reveal themselves because just we've all made mistakes in life. I've made plenty of mistakes in life. I'm sure you have as well. And we've all admitted it when we've made a mistake. We've said, I messed up. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. It's just we'll be mad at you. We'll give you shit. It's whatever. Sorry. Apologize for my language. You need to admit that you're at fault for this mistake because it's just absurd that Asia Wilson got a fourth place vote. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm indifferent. I knew from the jump, and shout out to Low, from the beginning of this season, the media made it vehemently clear who they wanted their MVP to be. Ryan Rucco, when there was a clip on Twitter, made that clear of who the MVP was. I knew when Asia won Defensive Player of the Year, that kind of sealed her fate. For the record, I did not have a vote. But if I did, Alyssa Thomas and Asia Wilson should have been co-MVPs. I think you'd be nice to have two MVPs at once. I feel like when you look at the voting breakdown, the fact that Alyssa Thomas had the majority first place votes compared to Asia Wilson, 17. I have a problem with that. I also have a problem with the fact that Sabrina Ionescu and Courtney Vandersloot each had an MVP vote. Don't like that. We all know from the beginning of the season, 1A, 1B. However, I've always thought that MVP was the most valuable player. Yes, I understand. Brianna Stewart definitely carried the Liberty for the most part this year. Same thing with Las Vegas. Las Vegas, for the most part, did not have Candace Parker due to a fractured foot. Raquana Williams, who was arrested for domestic violence, who should not be back in WBA, not having her there on the court for defensive purposes, that matters. And watched Asia Wilson carry that Las Vegas Aces team that was pretty much fatigued that stretch of the season. Yes, Asia had a couple of bad games. So did Brianna. Alyssa Thomas, I just feel like we will never see something like this again, in my personal opinion. I just feel like she was used in terms of the votes to make Brianna the MVP. No disrespect to Brenden Stewart. And we all can see that she was MVP. Congratulations. It's just sad that when it comes to voting, like the fact that a media member gave, and you said it, a fourth place vote to Asia Wilson. That's all I need to know about you're not, because you're clearly not watching the games. You're not, like, there's a bias there. Like if it was up to me, like when I look at the votes, like, okay, Nafisa Collier had 32 fourth place votes. I ain't mad at that. You know, Satu had 8 fourth place votes. Not mad at that. But basically, I just don't know what to feel on it, honestly.
Joel got up there too. Shout out to her.
Yeah, she had 5 fourth place votes.
Yeah, I think she should have had
place votes.
If we finished with a better record, I think she should have been higher on MVP. But you know, with Jewel, it was our record. If we had a better record, we'd be talking about her more. But
yeah, I mean, again, just congratulations to Brianna Stewart. I'm happy for her, but I've already kind of made it clear that they weren't going to give Asia a third MVP over Brianna. That just wasn't happening. And just knowing how this W media is, yeah. So,
and I feel like this is going to be a frustrating conversation because I think I've said it on here before. If not, I'm saying it now. This award is going to alternate, I feel, between these two, Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart, and it's just because these two are the best two players in our league. They're the two faces of the league, I feel like, and so I feel like these two players are going to alternate in winning MVP. Would I be surprised if Brianna Stewart won next year? No. Would I be surprised if Asia Wilson won next year? No. Would I have been surprised if Asia Wilson won this year? No, because I know how the award works, how this voting. I know how it works, and it works to where it's going to alternate between these two players, whether you like it or not, or whatever. It doesn't matter the type of arguments that you draw up for your case for MVP. It's going to be between these two.
So I have a question. So you're saying that the vote that it alternates. So if you had to, if you look at the numbers, totality of this season, if you had to vote again, who is your MVP?
Oh, Alyssa Thomas. Okay. Thomas, because here I thought you were gonna go this way with defining the award most valuable player. Take Asia Wilson off the Aces. This is what I'm gonna do this. Take Asia Wilson off the Aces. They are a playoff team. Maybe they make the finals. They're just that damn good of a team. Take Brianna Stewart off the put her back on Seattle. Take her off the Aces. The Liberty. The Liberty barely make the playoffs. Maybe Vandersloot and Ionescu and Jonquil Jones. I don't know if they're gonna consistently perform all season long, and these playoff teams are really, really deep. So I don't know if losing Breanna Stewart is gonna make them do. It's not gonna make them do as well, obviously, but maybe a mid-tier playoff team. Now that I rethink about it, but they're definitely not going to the finals. Now take Alyssa Thomas off of the Connecticut Sun. They're picking in the lottery. They might be picking in the lottery. They're definitely not making the playoffs. That just shows that Alyssa Thomas was really, really, really important to this team. And yeah, like you said, we may not see the type of history that she made ever again. And I can definitely second that. So in terms of MVP, that's what you should be basing it off as. But to the media and everybody else, it's just a popularity contest.
So I guess, in other words, my question for you is, okay, so if since we're part of the media, how should that shape our views when it comes to making a decision, especially voting for MVP? Like, when you look at, because let's keep it real, they're both 1A, 1B. Are we putting more in? Because if you look at the numbers this year, particularly with Asia, on both sides of the ball, she got better. Or are we looking at Breanna Stewart, who did the same thing? How do your views change when you look at their numbers?
I view it as consistency or consistently. I think going across the duration of the entire season, Breanna Stewart's consistently, night in and night out, performed in some way where she's carrying the team, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. She's the reason why the Liberty win. And if you take that away, you don't have much, especially when Jonquil was on her like really long slump. And because I remember when we were talking like, Breanna Stewart's carrying this team. She 100% is carrying this team. We don't know how good or bad they are if she's not on this team. That's what I'm talking about. And with Asia Wilson, yeah, she's going to put numbers up every single night, but she's in a position where she doesn't need to. And you see that in the scoreboard. You got scores like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Alicia Clark, Candace Parker when healthy. Like she doesn't need to. Like they share the ball so much that I feel like she doesn't need to score all that often for them to be successful. Or and that's not saying like that she can't. She definitely can. She's shown she can. But I just feel like she doesn't need to for the team to be successful because they're just that deep. They're just that good.
So you can't make the same argument for Stewie, because you have Sabrina, Courtney, Jonquil, MVP, and then Benijah Laney, who was also a most improved player. You mean to tell me they can't take some of the load off Stewie's shoulders?
No, I'm saying they can, and they've proven that they have. Like, I mean, best example, the day that Breanna Stewart was named MVP, she only had 15 points. She had a terrible game, but names like Sabrina and Benijah, they stepped up and they made up for it, and they got the win because of the players around her. But you look at the duration of the season, I don't think that was the case, and that speaks to how much they've progressed. Sabrina, I've always been the biggest critic of in terms of consistency. Benajah Laney, excuse me, she has stepped it up big time, and I'm looking forward to our coverage of the finals because it's going to be a lot of Benajah Laney talk, and so I just didn't see that throughout the regular season, especially when they struggled. New York had a longer struggle than Vegas did, and they still somewhat won games, or they didn't look like they still won games even though they didn't look like the super team that we all thought they would look like because of Breanna Stewart. And so she just has that impact where you give her the ball, you get out of the way, I'm going to go to work. And so she had that impact in Seattle. It didn't change in New York because that's just who she is. So you said it multiple times. It's going to be 1A, 1B every single year until, whether we like it or not, until they both retire, or until one or both retire.
I'm just going to finish. I'm going to close off by saying this. By far, this was probably the best season. They both had all three had historical seasons. I just feel like, in my opinion, I think they got it wrong. And again, congratulations to Breanna Stewart. I'm not taking anything away from her the season that she had. Not doing that one bit at all. But the seasons that Asia and AT had, I can't dismiss that. Because if we're being honest, like in some of the reactions, the AT did not win MVP. I believe I'm saying this correctly. I believe Alyssa Thomas was voted the 7th best player in the league, I think, at the beginning of the season. So that tells me everything I needed to know. But I mean, hey, in my opinion, I think they got it wrong. But congratulations to Stewie. I was hoping that they would use that for motivation because they had a picture on ESPN that I didn't like that needed. Representation does matter. In terms of the pictures, you had Stewie, had a picture of her smiling, and you had AT and Alyssa's picture. Like, yeah, okay.
I just feel like you're throwing away the biggest loser of this whole award thing is not just MVP but the whole awards. The biggest loser, I think, is Alyssa Thomas because you're dismissing such a historical season and you're not rewarding it at all.
No, you're not.
And Breanna Stewart, for her season, she won MVP. For Asia Wilson and her season, she won Defensive Player of the Year. Alyssa Thomas probably had a better season than both of them. And yeah, her team didn't do as well because they weren't expected to. But she made a huge impact for her team. And she was in the MVP top 3. And because she didn't win, she's not up for any other awards. So if this goes along with Connecticut too, the only thing that you're able to reward Alyssa Thomas and Connecticut is the Coach of the Year for Stephanie White. That's it. That's all you're going to give them. And in a semifinal spot, losing to New York. That's all you're going to give them. And I just disagree completely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I just feel like we need more transparency when it comes to voting. Because when I saw the 4th place vote, I was like, wow.
Just reveal yourself. Just reveal yourself. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Just admit you're in the wrong. It's okay. We've all made mistakes. We've just all had the guts to admit it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Good conversation there, Brenden. Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. That is Zagnif Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're already famous? You can and you will with Zagnif Apparel.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
You can and you most certainly will with a nice 15% off using my discount code for your final purchase, Big Nate. Thank you for Zagnif Apparel, for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you can and you will dress like you're already famous. We'll be right back. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the final thought of, one final thought of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
What is your final thought, sir?
Yeah, I'm using mine to give a shout out. WC, everybody here knows that I'm a graduate of Washington State University, and they are very good in athletics in a crucial year, with our last year being in the pack, and or at least with 10 of our schools leaving. A different topic to talk to me about on a different day. But their volleyball team is currently 4th in the country, and they are playing extremely well. I am pretty sure I've met everybody on that team over the past 2 years. We've added some new players this year who have played really, really well. And if you guys watch volleyball in college, watch this Washington State team. They live up to the hype of being 4th in the country. They've had wins against BYU, Texas, the defending champions, Oregon all on the road, and they have played really, really, really well. And it's insane that these next words are coming out of my mouth, but they could very well go to the Final Four this year, which is just insane to think about. So if you guys watch volleyball, keep an eye on Washington State because they are very, very, very good this year. And if anybody follows me on Twitter, my username is "It's a great day to be a Coug." And I live by that every single freaking day. It is a great day to be a Coug. So on that note, go Cougs.
I love it. My one final thought is, again, just have to give appreciation to the Connecticut Sun. for allowing me to cover their team. It wasn't a consistent coverage, but it was fun to cover a team. I reached out to the PR. Can't wait to run it back again next year. This was fun. It's interesting. It's sad that it's coming to an end, and it's weird that the WNBA Finals is going to be happening in October. Very, very strange. And then we go right into college basketball, men and women. So I'm very excited for that. I do have some things coming up soon. In terms of still going to be with Maryland Sports Blog, covering the Maryland Terrapins. My goals for this year is to get out there to College Park and cover some games in person. I'm excited for the opportunity. So thank you to the Maryland women's basketball team for giving me the opportunity to cover the team for another year. So definitely great for that opportunity. And yes, and in the meantime, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a very support of Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. I'll have the Connecticut Suns exit interview up. I'll have it up sometime later tonight or early tomorrow as the weekend progress, so you can see all their interviews and stuff. So thank you. You'll see part 6. Brenden, I'll see you in part 6. Please like, comment, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, for all future content. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy the rest of your night. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.